Hey everyone, welcome to Breakout Wednesday for the 10th of Jan to 24. It is currently 4 p.m. on the West Coast, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. First of all, remember, this is never financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is simply a video blog on how one trader sees the market, and everyone needs to take responsibility for their own decisions. Okay, so here's a chart of the All Ords basing on a monthly chart. We're stuck in a huge base if you look at this on a monthly chart, okay? Obviously, we all want this to break out of that base and have the mother of all bull markets, but what will be, and we just need to let price dictate, and let the market tell us what it wants to do, right? On the daily chart, it looks bullish as it's just gone, rallied up and it's had a pullback to its 20-day moving average. Let's see what happens from here. Now, real quickly, I've got a few people that have reached out that want me to do some scanning today. I'm going to do heaps of that, okay? But just quickly, some of the trades that I was talking about in the last episode. Dominoes is still going. It just had a retracement to breakout, and I'm hoping it now gets on with it. I'm going to cut that if it starts falling back into that big base. CIA is much the same. It's allowed to have a pullback to its 20-day moving average. That's what stocks do in uptrends. It's a healthy thing. Now I just want to see that stuff around in base and then get on with it. Now, I talked about in the video in the last talk, and it had this huge breakout 2 days ago. I hope there's some Protrader members are all over this. It doesn't get more classic than that, okay? Just the VCP that's happened, this low, every low is getting higher. The volume drop off, if you just have a look at this volume here, the expansion of volume on the breakout, we're in the hottest sector. It's printing money, it has massive earnings. And it's just got all the boxes ticked, okay? If you look at it in a monthly chart, it's got blue sky above it. This is just exactly what I look for. I don't give a shit that it's an expensive stock. All I care about is that it's a fast moving stock. It's different, okay? You can still be fast moving and expensive. You can be cheap and slow moving, okay? It's all about how, the beta of these stocks, how fast they move, and NVDA has that in spades, all right? And so anyway, that's a new trade. That's my biggest position for now. I know a lot of people that I know got into the Boral trade. I was not one of them, as I said in the last talk, which is pissing me off to this day. I knew that trade was going to make good money. I just was busy on some other trades, and that maybe didn't go as well as the Boral trade, in all honesty. And so I made the wrong call. We are human. I make the wrong calls all the time, and just got to get over that shit and move on. But well done to those that have been right in Boral. And it's like it's a bigger thematic, right? This whole kind of the sector that Boral is in. I'm not going to get into once again into the what I think is happening in Australia in terms of housing crisis and construction needs and all that sort of stuff. But I'm telling you, if I get more setups in like Boral in that sector, I'm not going to miss it again, okay? And so the other one, just quickly, just BH, just a quick look at that. It's having a pullback, right? I own it in my self-managed super fund. I don't give a shit. I love pullbacks in BH, okay? Because I'm just going to get more when I can. And so I hope that pullback's a lot deeper than it is, all right? Now, let's just get on with it. What is happening this very second in the stock market? And right now, it is all about uranium. It's like we've gone back in time to like 06 or 07. If you study the Bannerman chart, I remember as a younger trader, I don't know when it was, maybe 04, 03, I can't remember, but one of the nicest ascending triangles of all time. I'm just going to find it, one sec. Okay, guys, this is a weekly chart of Bannerman from, when is this date? When is this date? 2006, okay? Here's a weekly base that I was trading. I remember posting it to the Protrader forum back then, and a bunch of us piled into it. It was some good times back then, and look at this run it had after. Holy shit, to go back to 24th of July, 31st of July 2006, if you want to study one of the best ascending triangles of all time on BMN, okay? Anyway, I was just saying, it feels like we've gone back in time. Back then it had some big moves, and now we find ourselves in 224, 18 years later, and this stock is breaking out of this mammoth base, okay? I hope some of you got it. It's just been the writing on the wall for the last few weeks with these bases. Absolutely classic stuff. And so they're all doing it. All the uranium stocks are doing it. BOE's done it. PDN's done it. What's another one? AGE might be doing it. And so that's where the money's flowing at the moment. That's where the best setups are at the moment. Now, let's just get to some scans real quickly. One scan I'm doing a lot of at the moment is indicators and events, and I'm doing find any stock within 2% of the last 100-day high. Okay, so I'm finding stocks that are kind of within 2% of an old high, or have retraced and they're still within 2% of that high. Okay, and it's just such a wonderful scan to just get me into the zone, right? Get me kind of, in tune with the market, in sync with what's going on, because I'm finding all these stocks that are near highs and tightening. Okay, 92E is definitely one. I missed it, but it's definitely, look, and I just scroll through this every day. I'm not doing this necessarily to find stocks that I'm going to trade, even though I will trade some of these, like ANZ. Okay, this is a classic cup and handle forming, right? Massive kind of source of big handle forming here. If this can tighten up and tighten up and tighten up, then if I have spare cash sitting there, I'll trade it, because if that can tighten up more, that's incredibly high probability. All right. I pointed out a head and shoulders pattern on gear the other day on Twitter. All right. Have a look at this. Head, big head, small head, bang. Right. And they don't usually rally that fast and work out that perfect, but patterns in the stock market work. They're so much better than opinions and all this shit that people come up with. If you want to be a long-term investor, that's I think that's completely different. I think the fundamentals are incredibly important. But if you want action, if you're one of these guys like me that wants to be trading and building accounts quickly and rolling it over and compounding the account and trying to make bank, right? You've got to be a trader, and you got to get in and out of shit, and you got to compound it. And it's just in these patterns are where it's at, right? And so. That is that. I got massively sidetracked. I can't even remember what the hell I was talking about, to be honest with you. But let's just get back to the scan, all right? I do that scan and I just scroll through it. ASX, another stock, massive uptrend, and it's just tight. See how tight this is, right? If this can just be there longer, give me 3 weeks. You need, for me, a minimum of 3-week base. I don't want to trade anything that's less than 3 weeks. So that's 15 business days. ANZ might be giving us that. That's not. Ben, I don't give a shit about. BG, I don't give a shit about. So Boral, it just pains me to look at. BOE's already broken. Bank of Queensland, that's tight. That's a boring stock. CBA, maybe. Collins Foods, blah, blah, blah. But there's Cochlear, okay? I mean, it's kind of perfection, Cochlear, right? Big uptrend and then basing. It's not ready yet. It needs to base longer, but it's getting there, okay? And let's just do a few more just in case there's something else. EMR, okay. So EMR is obviously a gold stock. Gold price is high. It's been basing for years, the gold price, if you look at it on a monthly chart. And then if we just quickly compare, let's just choose a few gold stock. RSG down near its 150 day. Let's have another look at, say, BGL. Down near its 200 day. Let's have another look at Northern Star. Okay, not too bad, but down near its 50 day. And then we go back to EMR, that's sitting up here above its 10 day. It definitely has relative strength. Okay, and if I'm going to be pouring my money into a gold stock, it's going to be one of these ones with relative strength. And so that scan just finds that. And then after I do that scan, I'll then, just to make sure I haven't missed anything that's shit hot, is I'll go into my Dava Scan and I'll just do 3-3 any box, and I will just scan result. So I'll go here, scan result, and I'll find the last result that I did. I've been doing a bit of scans today, and I'll scan that, and I'll just rattle through quickly. It's only 19 stocks. It's found ANZ. Shit, gonna have to trade that if that base is longer. And ASX, once again, I'm probably going to need to trade that if the base is longer. CBA, if that base is longer, I'll 100% take that, okay? I don't give a shit that it's left there. I've been playing around. There's all these gaps that are left behind. I don't care. If that base is for another few weeks and breaks and it holds this tight range here, then I'm going to be all over it. Cochlear, 100%. There's no way I'm going to miss that, okay, if that base is longer. it's all about having a base that's been basing for long enough, okay? And so this is the main scan I'm doing at the moment, right? If I just find if I do my 2% scan, 2% scan from a high, 100-day high, and then I mix it with my Dava Scan, I'm missing next to nothing, okay? All the big US stock trades come up in that scan, all the big ASX trades come up in that scan. It's really kind of my main thing at the moment. The next, because we're in a good market as far as I'm concerned. Another scan I do, if I just on weekends when I'm playing around, is just Frank's big base scan. It just finds big bases, and I'll just rattle through that. And just usually I find, you know, sometimes an overlap, but also just sometimes new things that the other ones miss somehow, because you know, this will find a looser scans. One of them is NXG, which is in the hottest sector right now, and it's a relatively new stock. Okay, here it went from $5 to $10. It's a gappy, kind of a liquid gappy thing where you're going to have some big paper, you know, swings in your P&L. Yeah, unrealized P&L, right? But we've had a big base that's failed and then a tighter base next to it. They can be some of the biggest bases. You know, when you get these fake outs, a lot of people just think, oh, shit, it faked out, it caused some pain, they turn their backs on it. But it's quite often it resets, and the second break is 10 times more reliable, 10 times better than that first break. And so I just find it pays to you never lose hope in the stock just because it has one fake out. Keep it on the watch list. If it resets and has another base next to it, then go for it, you know, personally, right? And then there's one other stock that I wanted to quickly talk about on this particular scan, and just trying to find it here, is our RWC. RWC, it's in the same sector I was kind of touching on with Boral, and it's not ready for me, but if this can base for longer and give me, you know, 4 weeks in this box, then I'll be all over it, okay? You know, big gap up, I love the gap ups. I don't, you know, most real gaps don't get filled, all right? It's all bullshit, the gap thing. Some gaps get filled, but I think it pays to learn a little bit about gaps. There's breakaway gaps, continuation gap, and exhaustion gaps. Exhaustion gaps and continuation gaps totally get filled more often than not in majority of stocks. Breakaway gaps, more often than not, in a real stock that's moving for real reasons, do not get filled, okay? And so, you know, that's kind of more of a breakaway gap. Now, and I just don't care. You know, having seen that gap there is not going to prevent me taking that trade. If that basis were long enough, I'll just take it, right? Now, the other scan that I do that I just swear by because it's just made me tons of coin over the years is ascending triangle, double top, tripod resistance. Just tick all those, and I do it on a weekly chart, okay? I do it on a daily chart and a weekly chart, but and it always finds stuff in a good market. Like if we have a bull market happening, you know, this finds some of these spec stocks. I don't trade specs heaps, but it will find some of the best spec setups, okay? ARE's come up, and I just need to do some research on what happened to ARE here. I think it probably delisted then listed, I'm not sure, but but it's forming a big base here, had massive volume come in, you know, and if I wanted to get back into the trading specs, if the spec market gets hot as shit, then this is a scan I'm going to be doing every day. There's another one that came up in this scan the other day, which I'm going to quickly rattle through to save time, is AGE, which I think I maybe talked about before, right? And so that tri-point resistance scan, I'm just going to, you know, it just finds so many, a lot of them are shit, you know, stocks setups I'm not going to take, but it finds the odd perler, all right? The NPL's pretty interesting too. I haven't seen that one before, but, you know, that's some massive basing action there, hey, on that insurance stock bet. Anyway, I'll look at that later. Now, before I leave you, just my US stocks, I'm heavy long NVDA, I'm heavy long ETRN, okay, and shit, and some other one I just can't remember right now, but there are some others I'm watching. I don't have much money left, okay, I'm pretty heavily invested at the moment, but Microsoft, it's expensive, but it can move really quickly. This thing's in a big uptrend. It's just been tight in here in this base, and you know, it just looks like it can just get out of that base and go for a run. And I'm still looking at the home builders because they had that massive run. Whoops, wrong code. From a few weeks back, from here when it broke this classical base, right? and then it's just basing again and tightening again. And if that can base for long enough, then I'm going to pile back into some of these stocks and go for another crack at them. All right. That's it. Hopefully it's going to be a good year. Hopefully we can just nail some big trades, and hopefully this is going to be a lot more setups like Bannerman coming along, and hopefully it's happy days for everyone involved. Take care. Chat next week. Bye.